So today, for those of you who are on here earlier, and maybe for the benefit of those who are just logging on for softball, as a reminder, we are recording this meeting. You can go ahead, turn off your camera. You can leave it on. Doesn't matter to me. Try to stay muted. As always, unless you have a question to ask, go ahead and pop yourself off mute when you need to do that, or type into a chat. We'll be monitoring that as we go along. As far as members in good standing go, if you were a member in good standing with the NDAO for basketball and football, it means you paid your dues. And because you paid your dues, with our flat dues, it's $50 for one sport, two sports, three sports, or four sports. So that means if you were a member in good standing for an earlier sport, you should be all paid up for baseball, softball. But if for some reason you need to check or turn your dues, you can let us know about that later, and we can try to work with you and coordinate with you. We don't have an electronic way to do it. We do, but reach out to me about that. Otherwise, our form for registering with the NDAO is on our website. And again, for those who weren't here earlier, our website is MetroDetroitAthleticOfficials.com. All together, it's long but easier to remember. And we are going to host a couple meetings, and then we'll start updating MIGs. And I appreciate everybody logging on today for baseball and softball on this Sunday. We had some kind of wonky scheduling thing with basketball and the baseball softball season basically overlapping. Scheduling wasn't easy. So I really genuinely appreciate everybody logging on today. And admitting a few more people as we get started here. Seeing them log on, and their audio is connecting. So, okay. So with that, before I turn it over to Ryan Negoshian, I see Gary logged off today, and I will just remind everyone that Gary has basically put out a referral reimbursement opportunity that if you are the first one to refer a brand new official to him, you are going to get some monetary reimbursement from him. And he had all the good details at the beginning of the baseball meeting. And so this will get posted and you can go on and log on. But if you got a name, let's try to get them all registered and logged on, and we can help them out with that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Bob. For those of you who are here for the baseball meeting, this might be a bit of a repeat, but Bob, go ahead. You can come off mute, share what you need to share for the softball officials.
Hey, very briefly, same thing we said during baseball, keep your arbiter up to date. And as you probably know, I'm behind. What else is new? Keep checking your arbiter. If you want to work, we'll keep you working. Then that will not be a problem. If you get an assignment and it's a single game and you get there and it's a doubleheader, just work it. Then call me and let me know, and I'll put the extra game in there so you get paid. If for some reason you work a game by yourself, which is probably going to happen from time to time, if your partner doesn't show up or we're short or whatever, just call me or send me an email. Let me know you work by yourself, and I will change your pay rate so you get paid appropriately. If you do get an assignment, please don't sit on it. Just either accept it or decline it. Hopefully you'll accept it. And we'll get through this the best way we can, just like we did baseball or basketball. It's going to be challenging, but we'll get through it the best we can. So everybody has my phone number, cell number, email address. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll be around, but please help us get through this next couple of months. It will be challenging. Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions before we move over to Ryan? Are there any questions for Bob? All right. Hearing none and seeing none. As a reminder, stay muted unless you got to pop on for a quick question, and then I'm going to turn it over to the brand new head varsity coach of the district champion Walled Lake Northern Knights. And so Ryan, glad to see that you're not, too bleary eyed from any post-game celebrations you had yesterday. But the floor is yours. Share your screen as you need to.
Well, thank you for that. It was fun yesterday. So I'll be pretty quick here. Paul did a great job of going over all of the COVID precautions, and I'm gonna hit on those a little bit. But I know most of us are the same, and most of us do other sports, and so we've been hearing those for forever. If you do have any questions about them, please let me know. There are changes, but there's really no changes. The rule changes this year are just the same as they were last year. But since we didn't have a season last year, I guess you could consider them to be new. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, and
Yep. Looking good.
all right. So it's our meeting. There's my contact information. If you do have any questions or anything, and like Paul said, please just leave a message on my my voicemail. I do get a lot of spam. I'll answer it if I'm there, but with 2 young kids, a lot of times it's a race to the phone. So, but I will get back to you. Email is also great. I teach and I'm all virtual right now, so I am on my email. I feel like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so I can get back to you pretty quick with that as well. So the agenda, welcome back. And we kind of talked about that. We'll go over the new rules and changes, safety, playoff eligibility, and then I'll take any questions. That shouldn't have been in there. Rule changes. Here we go. There's just a clarification this year. Damaged bats. So, you're always hearing about bats and, who gets thrown out and who gets this. Damaged bats, they wanted to clarify that they are different from illegal bats in that they were once legal, but are now damaged. So they're cracked, should be chipped or dented. Damaged bats are removed from play without penalty. So, if you come up there, a kid comes up and you notice, hey, they got a dent in their bat, or it's like it's got a crack or something like that. You call time. Hey, you know what? We got a damaged bat here. You just need to pick another bat. The only time it becomes a penalty is if once you've removed it and they try and use it again, and then they are subject to the penalty for unsportsman conduct. This year they have, and they started doing it a little bit ago. Remember, you can restrict a player or a coach to the dugout for unsportsmanlike conduct. That's a nice advantage that we get now, because before there was nothing really between, like, unless it was very specific said that you were allowed to restrict them, we weren't technically supposed to. So there really wasn't that middle ground there between, hey, I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to throw you out. Now you can restrict that coach or that player. And it only lasts for that game. So if you do it in the first game, they're then back the second game. And again, it's not like an ejection where it's the rest of the day's competition in the next day. If you do restrict it and, then they keep going, then you can go ahead and eject them. I liken it to in basketball, before an ejection, you can give them the tee. So pitching regulations. This is a minor change. So when both feet are in contact with the pitching plate, or only one pivot foot is in contact with the pitching plate, which is both legal in high school softball, the pitcher needs to remember they need to take or simulate taking a signal from the catcher. There tends to be a little bit of confusion here. They can 100% take a signal from whoever they want, so long as when they are on the plate, they look like they're taking it from the catcher, which means basically they face forward, and look at the catcher for a second. It's kind of always the way we've sort of treated it, but now they've put it into the regulations, and they've gotten very specific with what it has to be and what it can't be. The other thing is they've changed that you don't have to have your pivot foot on top of the rubber. Again, this is something that was kind of always never really addressed. This was something that we never really talked about because most of the kids were pretty close anyway. It used to be that A was the only legal way to do it. Now B, as long as they've got that foot butted up to it, that's now legal to do it. Again, just a minor change. It's something that in 20, I'll be honest, in 25 years of officiating, I never called it once. But they made the change just to make it so that it's now legal, and it's now, there's no confusion, and you don't get that one coach that's out there yelling about it. All right. This is where they've just changed again some verbiage, and they've made it so that the timing on plays, has been altered a little bit as far as when a run scores. A run is not scored if the runner advances to home plate during action in which the third out is made by a preceding runner who was declared out on an appeal play. So, previous wording only described a runner failing to touch a base. This new wording makes it clear that if the preceding runner is called out for any appeal play, the following runs would not score. And all that that means is if you got one out, fly ball to center field, center fielder catches it, you now have two outs. Before, to get in for the run and not count, let's say that you had the runner from second, you had a runner on second and third, you had the runner from second, missed third base. They then appealed that. A runner on first and second. The runner on second base missed third base. Going home, the runner on first base also scored. If they appealed it before, that would not count. And I know it sounds a little confusing because it was a missed base. What this does is this adds leaving a base early is basically what happens. And I've got here, this kind of does a better job of explaining it the way I do. Okay. So right here, you can see the runner on second base legally tags up. The runner on third base legally tags up. They both score. When they appeal this, even though the runner on second base legally tagged up, the run won't count because the preceding runner was the one that was called out on appeal. I know I kind of butchered explaining that at the beginning. Sorry about that. Are there any questions about that? That's going to be one with most coaches didn't know the old rule anyway. And when you explain it to them, well, coach, we can't, how can the runner at, second base score when the runner on third is the one who we're calling out? Some might try to argue, oh, it's a timing play, this and that, and hopefully, to be perfectly honest, none of you ever have to call this. Because it's one of those where as soon as you start taking runs off the board, that's when things get pretty contentious. Sorry. Mouse is quite the media area. Speaking of contentious, a designated media area is allowed in the field of play. However, the marked off area will be considered a dead ball area regardless if it is occupied or not when the ball enters it. I really wish they didn't do this. In the past, if the area was not occupied, it was considered to be in play. So if you've got an area, they go out and, you're doing a tournament or whatever it is, and not that you can do those anymore, but you're doing a game and, they mark off an area right there along, the first base line or the third base line, or sometimes they'll do both. They chalk it off and they tell you beforehand, so you discuss it with the coaches. In the past, what had to happen, well, just recently, there wasn't allowed to be that. But before this, if a photographer or a reporter wasn't in that area and the ball went in there, it was still live and in play. Now, whether or not the reporter or photographer, whoever's in that area, when it goes in there, it's now a dead ball. I don't see most teams putting a media area in during the regular season. This is going to be something that will probably, there's going to be requests for this, and host schools are going to want to do this during the state tournament. And, it's something that you need to make sure you discuss at pregame, and that both coaches are crystal clear about. Look at whether somebody's in there or not, that's going to be a dead ball. It might be something that when I always, in the state tournament, I always like to call the host team a few days ahead of time. In the past, I've always done this and asked them, are you going to have a media area? Are you going to, how are we going to be handling certain situations? And, one of the things I've always kind of tried to do is talk them out of having a media area. I understand why they want it, get better pictures, get the kids recognition, but I always say then, please be careful where you're going to put it. Because one of their favorite places is to put it right behind first base where all kinds of overthrows are going to happen. And now with it the way it is, it's, you're going to have a kid running back there to make a play on the ball. It's going to roll past that line and you're going to have to call it dead ball, even though there's a good chance they might have been able to get them out at second. And so just, again, be crystal clear with this in the pregame meeting. Any questions on that? All right, need to go. Sorry, it got out of order here. Safety. They want us to hammer on this. Lightning is lightning and thunder is lightning. Thunder is caused by lightning. If you hear either of them, or I should say, if you hear it or see it, you're on a 30-minute pause. I know nobody wants to do this. It's awful. But you need to do it. Okay? Every time that there's more lightning or more thunder, that 30 minutes restarts, and you need to send them to their designated safe area. It's not up to you to determine what their designated safe area is. That's supposed to be the home team or the host's responsibility. Sometimes it'll just be in the dugout. Sometimes, hey, go into the gym. I'm sure that with COVID now, they're not going to, want the teams together at places. And I'm hoping that, athletic directors and coaches have thought about this, because before, hey, we're just going to put everybody in the aux gym or whatever. Now, we've got to keep that social distancing. Just keep that in mind. And that is on you. It doesn't matter what they want to do. It doesn't matter what, we'll just play. Come on, we've only got, 2 more outs. No, pull them off the field. You do not want to be the person that ends up in the paper about this. You do not want, everybody's got video now and posting videos online. A lot of organizations, sports organizations, you've got a lot of media organizations that are just on Twitter. They're posting a ton of videos. You don't want them posting a video showing something and there's lightning or thunder in the background and you're not calling it, because that is the quickest and easiest way to get suspended. There was an incident like that in Florida, not last year, but the previous year, where, oh no, there was no lightning, no, nothing like that. And, someone had posted to Twitter a video of it. And they weren't even trying to get the official in trouble. They were just posting a video of, a great play in the field. Face masks. It's everybody's favorite. Here is the link to what the MHSAA says about those. I will post it in the chat. And Shane, is that on? I'm assuming that's on the MDAO webpage. Is that one on there?
That one specifically might not be on there, but if you post in the chat, I can put it specifically on there. Okay. Right. I'm actually kind of working on that right now. And hey, while I'm talking, Ryan, and you're doing that, I don't know if you addressed it, but Tony had a question of a little earlier regarding what if the player on second left early and the runner on third was legal? Does the first run count?
So yes, that first run here, let me get, there we go. Sorry, I am, had you in the corner, so I didn't see questions coming up. Yes, absolutely. So if the runner on third scores, and then the runner on second is the one that's illegal, that left early and they appeal it, absolutely 100% that run counts. So good question. And then let me, of course I can't get,
And Ryan, if that's not working, I'm going to go looking for that right now on the MHSA website too.
All right, I could just email it for whatever reason. I can't
Yep.
get it to pop up on me.
Is it on the sports specific page?
I think it is, but it's, I think it's just the standard one.
Okay.
It kind of talked about, having to wear masks and all that. One of the things though, it said, remind, warn, remove. We need to be on this, especially with numbers climbing the way that they are. We want to have a season. The kids want to have a season. And I know that these are a very contentious issue. And my thing is always, coach, just the way it is. It's like a dumb rule. And in softball, I understand, coach. It's the way it is. It talks about them needing to have them. A couple of the things that it does discuss on there, and I'm not going to go through, every little detail on it, is, if you have a team that is refusing to wear them and you have another team that is basically like, we're not going to take the field with this team. Okay. And this has happened. I know of a soccer game where a team walked off. I know of a couple of basketball games where teams were ready to walk off. You need to go to the coach of the team that's not ready to wear them. They're not wearing them. We're refusing to wear them properly. You need to tell them, coach, we need to either remedy this or they're not going to play and I'm not going to force them. The thing you need to do then immediately after that, especially if they walk off, is you need to file a report with the state. You need to go home and do it that night. I would also call your assigner, whether it's Bob or Gary or whoever it is, and let them know as well. Because, that's going to become an incident. Again, with everything, with the way that, it's kind of a political hot button and all that, it's going to become something and you want to let them know. I would also, I'm assuming that both ADs are going to be informed by their respective teams, but again, file that report. And call your assigner, because it's going to, just like an ejection or anything else, the assigner is going to hear about it. And, the state, I'm sure, will hear about it from one team or the other. And so you want to be, you don't want them not knowing what's going on. You want them, awares of that. Are there any questions about that? And again, I don't want to go over it. I know a lot of you have already gone over it with other sports, but the link is there and you should go over it if you have not. One of the things I do with these is I make a copy of them and I leave them in my car. That way, if there's, some real big bone of contention before a game starts, I'll go out to the car. I'll double check exactly what it says. And then that is also something that kind of protects you as well, because you can, and you hate to be the person that pulls out the paperwork, but you can always be, look, here's exactly what it says. Here's what we're going to do. And again, that takes the onus off of you. Any questions with that?
I see a question about in my, I'm thinking baseball, it might be boys basketball district game. I started enforcing the mask rule. The offending coach went ballistic. The infamous nobody called that all year. And so I don't know. I mean, I think to that point is we want to all be consistent. We want to start mask enforcement early and often in the season.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And again, whenever a coach says that to me, my thing is always, well, you know what? Then, hey, you've had some bad officials, or you don't even say that. Like, shame on them is usually what I say. You know, I tell them it's my liability. I'm doing it. You know, I'm not losing, and I'm not losing out on an opportunity. You know, I'm also not losing out on, you know, God forbid someone gets sick is what I would say. You know, and they come back and, you know, the first person they're going to blame is going to be the official that didn't enforce a rule. You know, and so, yeah, again, it's a contentious issue. And just it's the way it is, coach. Look, this is the way it is. No, this isn't me. If you've got a problem with this, you know what, talk to the state, talk to this, talk to that. Don't bring this on to me. And usually that'll help. Again, you'll have some guys that'll go ballistic. Right? Unfortunately, it is what it is. Any other questions? All right. And then the last one, playoff eligibility. You need to have your rules meeting. Now, what's changed now is that you need to have that done anyway before you do any games. So that's kind of a no-brainer, but I still put it out there. Be a MIGS, be a member of in good standing of an approved association. Our association is approved. As long as you paid your dues and you show up to 2 of the 3 meetings, you will be a member in good standing. You need to officiate a minimum of 12 contests during the current season. And for regional and beyond, you need to do the postseason exam and submit your schedule. And I believe both of those are due April 1st. I've gotten 2 different dates on those, so you need to go and just double check those. And unfortunately, I had to, my internet died. And so I had to, for whatever reason, I had to run up to school. And I don't have that paper to double check those dates with me. But again, get those in. The way you submit your schedule now is changed over the past couple of years. Are there any questions about that? Because I know that there were some issues 2 years ago with people getting it done. And I'll stop the screen share. Because now, you know, in the past, you wrote it out on the piece of paper, right? And you faxed it or scanned it and sent it in. And now it's all done electronically with drop-down menus. I think it's a lot easier, but, you know, it's again, it's very different. It takes a little bit more time if you're not used to it.
And Ryan, for anybody that wants to stay on a little longer, I don't mind going to the MHSA website and kind of logging on and showing those who haven't done it how to do it. Real quick, there's also a question from Steve going back to the mask. Do all players have to wear their mask on the field and bench at all times? Is there any time that they're allowed to pull that mask down temporarily?
Okay. As far as I know, and this is where it's going to kind of make sure you pay attention to your emails. As far as I know, yes, everybody has to have them on. I know that there is more guidance coming out from the state with the changes and everybody having to test. And so just like a lot of things, it could change. I know that, you know, they had talked about, you know, if you have the ability to social distance, not having the kids, but the problem with that is, lights, hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Motion sensor. The problem with that is that, you know, you say to yourself, well, you know, center fielder, they're going to be able to social distance. Well, until they have to cover second base and they're putting a tag on a kid, you know, or things like that. So as of right now, yes, everybody needs them on. The only time you're supposed to be able to take them off is, you know, for drinking, water, you know, or being, you know, dealt with by like, you know, a health professional, you know, so if you're hurt or whatever it is, you know, you got hit in the face or something like that, and the trainer's looking at you, then that would be the time.
I would like to be clear, because if I understood correctly, in baseball, it's the opposite. And when they're actively participating, they do not have to wear a mask. Are you telling me that in softball, it's 180 degrees out of phase?
Paul, maybe you could help. Where did you get did you get an update on that?
I got an email a couple days ago.
Okay. I did not get that email.
That said, if you're actively participating, you do not need to wear a mask. The only time you have the mask on is if you're on the bench or you are or there's some type of conference.
Okay,
And,
let me
and
look
Ryan
at
and
that.
Paul, the most recent officials mask and face covering recommendation document I have from the MHSAA is dated March 15th. Is that the most updated one both of you have?
No, there's one, I think, on the 21st.
Okay, I do not have that one, so that would explain why. Yeah, I never got that one.
I don't know about softball. I didn't dive that closely into it, but I can't imagine it being different.
I can't imagine it either. I'm trying, yeah, I do not have it. I never got that email. So I will have to, does it mention, and I apologize, does it mention in that email that it just mentions if you're actively participating in anything?
I can't remember where I got it from. How's that for you? I'm
Because I
on
do not
I'm on
have
the
one.
MHSA website now, so I don't, if I find it, I'll let you know. How's that?
All right. I apologize for that, but I do not have an email from, I'm with you, Shane. That's the last one I have.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, Ryan. So it looks like there's two different documents. One document is face coverings and sports officials, and that one is dated March 15th. If you actually go to the baseball and softball pages and not the official sports specific content, there is a document titled 2021 Return to Play Guidelines, and those ones were updated March 24th.
Okay.
And so that might be where the discordance is coming from. So there's two different documents out there, one called Return to Play Guidelines and another one called Face Coverings and Sports Officials. And so if there's anything that you are noting that there's a discrepancy about, such as this, we can all try to get clarification from the MHSAA on that.
I'm going to look, and you said it's what? It's not on the officials part, but it's sports specific content, or is it like on the homepage?
It's on the homepage. So if you go to home, sports, and then you go to softball, baseball, it'll be there. However, that particular document is not on the sports specific content under the official section.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second here and I will,
Yeah. And I will
mandates that masks are to be worn during practice and competition for all outdoor contact sports. Additionally, if practices are held indoors, masks be worn in all sports and all times, in general face masks. And then do they consider this?
On the baseball one, there's a header called competition,
Mhm.
like the third one down. But you want me to go peek at the softball one?
I'm looking at the softball one right now.
Is there a title called competition?
I'm looking for
About
that.
halfway down, it's a big document.
Yeah, it's yep, hold on.
Page 7. Face coverings are required for both coaches and umpires at the plate meeting prior to the game. The plate meeting should be conducted. Okay, I'm sorry. Where did it go? All coaches and students are required to wear face masks in the dugout or while inactive, and when they cannot maintain a 6 feet distance.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too.
So I remember getting an email from Brent saying during active participation, easy for me to say, that the face covering is not required.
Correct. I think that's correct.
That's what I'm seeing too. So, and I apologize for not being ready with that. I never got that email. So,
I did a double header yesterday. That's how we did it. So
nice. Okay. Yeah, no, I did not. Cause yeah, I'm with the last one I have is from, the 15th. So,
Right. So does that mean that we don't, as officials, don't have to wear a face mask while we're active?
no, we have to.
no, I
No.
don't think we have to.
No, only if there's only if just like in the Major League Baseball, if the coach comes running over to dispute a call, you have to put your mask on. Other than that, you don't have to.
Remember, he's not
I-
allowed to do that this year, right?
Yeah, I got one.
Now that's true, but
I got-
what I find fascinating is we're 2 feet away from the catcher and the batter. So, but whatever.
Like I said, I had mine on yesterday. I wore a gaiter all day yesterday, even on the bases. So
Okay.
it's up to you.
So,
Ryan, what do you think?
yeah, Shane, can we post a link to this then on, here, I'll put a,
Yeah, so what I plan to do is I plan to follow up with this meeting once I upload this video on YouTube. I plan to share the video link along with some of the supportive document links.
okay.
And so I'll be sure to kind of include all these and list them all out. And so if there's anything more recent that you want me to be sure to share, such as this one.
Gotcha. Hey, Paul, just out of curiosity, do you know the date you got that? Because you said the 21st,
It must be the 24th.
24th? Okay. Yeah, because I totally didn't. Okay. Perfect. So are there any other questions anybody has about anything? The biggest thing will be, I'm sure, to just keep up with the MHSAA website. I'm hoping that Brent keeps sending out updates like he did with basketball and football, and keep reading those as things change. For those of you that did basketball, I know that, they had a change right in the middle of the season about how the jump ball and possession was changed and all that. And to make sure that we keep up with those. Anything else? And I'm sure you will have some. Again, my information, and I'll put it up here. And it's in the chat. Please feel free to contact me. And everybody, there's nothing else. Everybody, good luck and, stay safe. And let's hope we get a season in and good weather.
All right, everyone. No other questions or anything. I think most of you are familiar, but what I'll do is I'm going to end the meeting right now, and I'm going to hang on for just 5 minutes for those of you who want to see kind of how to go about entering in your schedule. If you've never done that before for football or for basketball, I'll stay on. I'll just kind of walk you through that. But otherwise, I really appreciate everybody logging on this Sunday. I know it was a little bit of a weird scheduling thing, but we're going to work on that moving forward for the next couple of meetings. And good luck. And I really appreciate the way Paul phrased it. This is our COVID year. This is our COVID season. And just be flexible. Go with it, do what you need to do. And again, I really appreciate seeing as many faces logging on as you have today for Sunday. So with that, good luck this week and until we meet again. All right. Have a good one. And a big thanks to Ryan and Paul for today as well.
Where's your meeting done?
All right, so I am going to share my screen and I will be logging out. As you can see, I've working on updating a few things for the website here, but for right now, as far as entering in your schedule. So this is the MHSAA webpage, and you should be able to be seeing my screen here. All you have to do is you have to log on. And once you're logged in as an official, it should take you automatically to my MHSAA page. But if for some reason you get lost or you click on something else, you can always get back to the My MHSAA page by clicking My MHSAA right here in the upper right-hand corner. If you do not see this My MHSAA little button here, it means you're not logged in yet. Okay. So once you are in the My MHSAA screen, you can go to any of these tabs down here that for you as an official. Click Officials Services. And here, this is where if you need to take an exam, a rules exam, to Ryan and Paul's point, this is where you find your softball rules exam, your baseball rules exam, or for postseason consideration. And so if you need to take a rules meeting, you click on rules meeting. And there's any number of rules meetings that you can take, consider depending upon what sports you're registered for, and the due dates are right there. There's no excuse for not getting them done. The due dates are right next to them when you click on rules meeting. But if you're on the My MHSAA page and you click official services, you will also see right here, schedule. All you have to do is click schedule. And now for me, I'm only registered for basketball and football. And so I can only select one of those sports to put in a game. But what you would do is you would select baseball or softball, depending upon which sport is appropriate. And then you go down here, and if you want to add a game, you just select whatever date you want to add it for. So I'm working a game at Seahome. I'm just going to type in Seahome, and what you'll see is Seahome will pop right up there, and you select that. And they're playing against Groves. You just type in Groves or a part of the school name, and it does a really pretty good job of popping up the appropriate schools, and you select those. And if it's a double header, a tournament, a single, you can select that. Depending upon what position you are, you can select what position you officiate that one as. Now, what you want to do, though, is most of us are Zone 3 officials. Almost 99% of us that are probably watching this video are going to be Zone 3 officials. So you want to make sure that you have your desired zone as number 3. And you want to click Save Zone. So that way you don't have to click 3 for each game that you enter in. And so you click 3, you click Save. And then I won't submit this contest since I'm not working it. Well, I will, because I'll show you what you can do. You submit that contest. You're now going to see that contest is listed. But let's say it gets canceled or COVID, or you couldn't work it because you had something pop up. You can always go back in here and delete it. Just like that by clicking the red X, and it's there. Well, let's say you're playing that, you umpired that game at Seahome, but the opponent wasn't Birmingham Groves because they had to switch at the last second. Even after the fact, you can go in here and just switch out the school name and then click Submit Contest. You always got to make sure you click Submit Contest to make sure either the changes were accepted or that the game got added to your list. And that's how you submit your schedules. Now, I will say that for basketball, there was a due date for submitting your schedule, but I kept updating my schedule after that date, and I could continue to update it. And so make sure you have as many games as you possibly have scheduled on there, just varsity contests. They only want to know about varsity contests. But if you get games added to your schedule after that due date, they don't lock you out. You can keep adding those on there. So my recommendation is always keep adding your games, update your schedule on here. I wish this spoke with the Arbiter, but it doesn't. And so you kind of got to copy and paste or print out your Arbiter schedule and then, print this out here. So that is that for navigating kind of official services on the MHSAA page. You can also check your member in good standing. You can also add in your availability and conflicts that you have for district or regional things like that. Does anybody have any questions related to navigating this page, entering in your schedule, taking a rules meeting or a rules exam.
You're talking about the rules exam is different than that's the one needed for postseason. That's different than the one we just took, the 3-question one.
Yeah, so the rules exam,
That's the one. That's a 30 or 40 question one. The exam, right?
Exactly. So if you go to, and again, I'll show you how to get there. If you're on the main MHSAA webpage, by the way, I just hyperlinked the baseball and softball rules exam for postseason consideration to our Metro Detroit Athletic Officials website. But if you're on even if you're logged on or logged out, you can get to this either way. But to get to the sports official specific content, you click officials up here at the top. And then you scroll down and you click sport specific content. And then you simply select your sport. And so we'll go to softball. And here, this is where COVID working guidelines, face covering and contest officials, a lot of other things that they've added on here. 3 umpire mechanics overview. Some of these I have hyperlinked on our page, but I didn't want to totally reduplicate it. But if you keep scrolling down, you'll get to 2021 umpires exam for postseason consideration. Now, this is just a PDF version. This is something where you can print it off and you can fill out your answers. You can compare test, answers and questions to some of your peers. But to actually take the exam, you have to go to log in and go to My MHSAA, go to Official Services, click on Exam, and then you have to find your test on here. And again, you won't see it for me because I don't have any available exams up here because I'm not baseball or softball registered. But if I was, there would be an available exam for me to click play on and click take. And when you do that, you have to take it then. You can't save your progress. So my recommendation is print off that PDF version, get your answers, know what you want your answers to be, and then take 15 minutes to log on, sit down, and go here. The other one was My MHSAA Official Services Rules Meeting. This is, rules changes for 2021. That's the one if you're baseball or football, Nate does the voiceover. Mark Yule does sometimes the voiceover for some sections as well. And that's the one where as you're going on, it'll ask you a question or two so you can move on and progress to the next one. I don't know how long baseball and softball ones are, but basketball, sit down, get it done. It hasn't generally been any longer than 15 or 20 minutes. So does anybody have any questions about how to get to the sport specific content, how to get to the rules exam for postseason consideration, or how to find a rules meeting or entering in your schedule on the MHSAA page?
Thank you.
All right. And while we're on here, because I mentioned real briefly about how to go about printing off your schedule off the Arbiter. Like I said, unfortunately, the Arbiter and the MHSAA schedule pages, they do not talk to each other. But if you go to, log in and whichever association you're with, if you get to your schedule here, again, I only have, this is the only one I have coming up. I have it selected to show all future schedule games. But if I wanted to, I could go to, click schedule, and this comes up to a print schedule opportunity. It would export a PDF document. I can select the date ranges. So if I wanted to know all the sports all the games that I worked for this last season, I just change the dates. But then go here, and I think I have to move this out of my way so I can see. And you go to print preview. And assuming you have your pop-ups turned off, it'll print off a list of all your games that you have with who you're officiating, who the opponent is, the site, etc. And so you just print that off or you save it, and then you can go ahead and enter it into the MHSAA webpage on your schedule. And for those of you who have Microsoft Outlook that you use to do your schedule, a little trick that's nice to get all your games uploaded into your electronic schedule. You just go to Outlook Export. You can even select how soon you want a reminder. Like if you want a reminder to pop up on your phone on your schedule, like 6 hours before, 2 hours before, or 1 hour before, you can do that. But if you click Export, it'll export a file. And then if you go into your Microsoft Outlook program for your calendar, you can then just elect to upload that file. And if you have like 40 games that you want to get on your schedule, it'll just automatically upload all those onto your Microsoft Outlook calendar. There might be something similar for Google Calendar if you do that. I don't. I use Microsoft Outlook, so I'm not as familiar with those other ones. But that was just another trick I wanted to show while we're on here for those of you who are interested. So any questions? Arbiter, MHSAA page. Again, this was for everyone else's benefit. And so if there's really nothing else, I will stop sharing. And we can all head off. All right, all good. Well, hey everyone, I really appreciate your time. I'll log off the meeting and we'll let y'all go. Enjoy the day. And good luck this season.